Hello friends, it's Katty and I'm back with another scrapbooking process video for cat scrappiness. Make sure to use my code Katty10 for any purchases made in the cat scrappiness shop so you can get a nice little discount off of your order. So I'm going to begin today's layout with these stamps. These are stamps by Mudra. They are available in the shop and they are called Gerbera Blooms. I'm sorry. And they're beautiful stamps. It's a floral stamp. It's a layered floral, so it's gorgeous. So you stamp out each piece and then you layer the others on top. So the idea is to obviously use different colored inks so that you can get the nice variation in color. And the nice texture in the flowers. So I'm starting with the lightest pink I have here. These are just inks from my stash. And I am stamping out the base and I'm using light pink. I'm going to use a darker pink for the next layer, and then for the top layer I'm going to use a magenta color. So these stamps, I am stamping them out on vellum. Now vellum does not have the same effect as paper. The ink, at least this ink, does tend to bleed out a little bit, so you do not get such a crisp image like you would on paper. But I'm okay with that. I knew that, so it's not like it was a surprise to me. I just really wanted to create these flowers on vellum. I just think it's very pretty and it adds a nice soft element to a page or a card or anything you're working on. So I already knew that, so it wasn't a surprise for me. I decided to go in the centers with this orange before I do my top layer, just to add in another pretty color. And I love the way the pink and the orange looks together. And then here I go with my top layer, and you're going to see that it is going to show up there pretty similar to the middle color. So it's not a huge difference, but you can see it up close. I'm also not really worried about lining up the stamp. You can kind of line it up perfectly to layer it. I'm not too concerned about that. I am just trying to get the image down, get some texture by adding the different colors, and I'm going to cut them out. So that's kind of what I went with there. I wasn't really concerned about getting everything straight. So here are the leaves, and I'm going to use a gray color as the base, and then I'm going to use two different greens for the leaves. And I'm going to do this one on camera. I think I do the rest off camera. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, I did the rest off camera. And the bottom ones there, the bigger ones, you can barely tell the difference in color. You can up close, but it's not as noticeable as maybe some of the other ones. So here I go. I am going to cut all of these flowers out just using my fussy cutting scissors. It does take a while, but I was watching something on my computer. I think I was watching Netflix or something, so it went by pretty fast. So how I've laid them out here is kind of how I want this to look. I've pulled out some papers from that paper pad that I showed you. That's just a paper pad from my stash. It's really thin and expensive paper. It's not like thick cardstock, but it's going to work for what I'm going to do here. So I went ahead and chose that green paper. I love the mix of that pretty light green with the pink. I think it looks so pretty together. So I'm going to use some of the cat scrappiness dies. These are the fancy scalloped stitched dies, and they're the squares, and they're so pretty. So I'm going to use a couple sizes here. I'm going to put that run that through my Big Shot, and I am going to cut out some squares. Very simple, but I love the color of them and I love what it's going to add to this layout. So there I go, just cutting the squares and running that through my Big Shot. And I'm kind of off camera there, but you guys know what I'm doing. Just running it through my die cutting machine. So there are the squares, as you can see them, and I'm going to place them, and I'm trying not to move things around too much, even though I'm going to have to eventually. My thought was to kind of try to leave things just like this because I really liked this, the way the flowers were sitting on the page. But, you got to move them because you got to stick the flowers down. you have to stick the squares down, or at least I have to stick the squares down behind them. So I grabbed this other piece of paper, and it's a pretty orange color from that same paper pad, and I thought about maybe adding some torn strips of paper to the edges of this layout. I don't end up doing that. I decided to just go with that vertical design in the center, and I didn't really want to add anything else to it. I thought the vertical design, the center design was pretty by itself, and I didn't really want to do too much more to it. So um, I sometimes less is more. I am a strong believer in that. Sometimes I add a lot of things. I mean, I'm guilty of that too, because there's so many pretty things and you just want to add everything. But sometimes I like to keep it really simple, and just kind of let a specific product or a specific embellishment shine. So in this case, I want these flowers to really shine, because they took me a long time to make, or not a long time, but I took my time to make them and make them pretty. So I wanted to make sure that I did have that those flowers were standing out and were the main element of my layout, besides my photo, of course. My photo is of my cat. She's just laying on the deck in our yard and looking all cute, and she's just the sweetest cat, and she's just she's just sweet. She's just loves to cuddle with us, and she's just adorable. So it was just a cute picture that I snapped one day, and I just wanted to scrap it because she's adorable. So I'm adding foam behind some of the squares, just to kind of add a variation here in texture and height and all that good stuff. So I just went ahead and did that. So a couple of the squares do have foam. I do end up adding foam behind my photo as well, um, because the square right at the bottom there underneath the photo, that one is popped up on foam. So I wanted my photo to be at the same level as that square. So there I go, just very simple design here with the squares just all going in that same vertical design that I have going on here. So I'm going to adhere everything. I'm happy with the way that the squares look. I know kind of where my flowers are going to go. They're going to pretty much end up in the same spot. And there I go. So I'm going to eventually cut off the top and bottom of that of the flowers, the ones that are hanging off the page. So I decided to grab that same orange paper, and I'm going to add a torn strip to the bottom of the picture and then a torn strip to the top. So to add some more color there in that area, I'm going to go ahead or some more of that orange color. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And yeah, just adds a really nice, simple, extra pop of color. So yeah. I'm trying to get that in there, but it wasn't going in, so I just have to trim it down a little bit more. And yeah, I have to end up removing the picture. I'm sorry, not the picture, the flower, because it just was getting in my way. It was not letting me get that piece in there. So I got that down. I'm just about finished here, you guys. I'm finishing up. Like I said, this layout is going to be really, really simple. I'm going to add my title now using these Amy Tangerine thickers, and they are craft colored. I thought about painting them, but I decided to just leave them as they were. I thought they looked pretty as they were, and I liked the craft against these colors. So I left them just as they are, and something I am going to do, and I will do it off camera, is I am going to stitch. I'm going to use my sewing machine and add some zigzag stitching in I think 4 or 5 areas on the layout, and you'll see that in the still shots, just kind of where the in the center, going down the center, so in the same kind of diagonal, or I'm sorry, not diagonal, vertical line. I'm going to just add stitching going diagonally, so, or not diagonally, oh gosh, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Going horizontally. I'm sorry, it's late. So yeah, my title is very simple. It's going to be Pretty Lady, because she is a pretty lady. And I love how that looks. It's super simple. This sticker here was giving me a hard time, so I have to I lost one of the layers, or the back layer with the glue, so I have to peel it off and re-glue it. So yeah. Problems. There we go. Problem fixed. So I'm gonna add some sequins. I pull out these two. This is the pink one is the Neon Barbie, which is super pretty. Lots of gorgeous sequins in there. I'm gonna add some of the small pink ones, some of the big pink ones, and then some of the white ones, or the iridescent ones. And then I'm going to add some of these green ones, and these are called Sparkling Lime, and they're sparkly, glittery sequins. So are the pink ones, so super pretty sparkly sequins. So I love those, and I just kind of scatter them around. And then I pulled out these. These are white little leaves, and they are iridescent. They do have kind of an opal look to them. So I go ahead and add one little flower, or one of they're called white AB leaves. I add one to each of the leaf clusters. So besides that, I'm going to do the stitching off camera. You'll see that in the still shots, but that's going to be it for my layout. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Make sure you check out Kat's Scrappiness and use my code Katty10 for 10% off your purchases. I will see you guys next time with another video. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and have a wonderful day. Bye!